Hello, dear lovely IELTS candidates, and welcome to my channel, IELTS with Ralph. Hope you're fine. Well, today we're going to talk about IELTS writing task 2, and we'll work on a simple question, a model answer, and the topic is about exams, and it's opinion essay. Opinion essay. We've worked before on opinion essays, and today we're going to work on another question. And first, let's take a look at the task 2 question here. Students at a school and university have to take too many tests and exams. These tests make it harder to teach and harder to learn and put students under unnecessary pressure. Is this a fair comment? So, the first step in writing your tasks is to analyze the question properly. What the question is about. Well, first of all, we learn that, all right, it's an opinion essay. And in an opinion essay, you need to write from a position, right? So you usually need to agree or disagree fully or partly, right? Now, it is possible to write from the position that something is both good and bad, right? So this makes it easier to write the essay because you can write about advantages and disadvantages. However, this is very important. You will only get a very high grade. You will only get a very high grade for task response using this method if you are specific, right? So if you want to get a very high grade for task response, you have to be specific. So what do I mean by this? For example, you could write from the position that exams are good, for example, for fact-based subjects, for higher level students, and for emotionally stable students, and that exams are bad for practical subjects, weaker students, and students who are easily upset. So in this case, if you are specific and if you do agree and disagree with the question, you say that, all right, these are the advantages and disadvantages. In this case, you have to be more specific. So this way you will get a very high grade in for your task response. And to answer the question fully, you need to refer to the points in the question. What are the points in the question? The points are that exams make teaching and learning harder and put students under pressure. So you have to say, all right, I do agree with this. I believe that, yes, exams put students under pressure. You totally agree. And then you provide your main ideas, all right, and supporting details. Or you can totally disagree with this. But there is a third scenario here, and I'm going to use this in this essay, is that I'm going to say, all right, although there are some benefits, but we should not neglect the negative sides. And then we should talk from, let's say, advantages and disadvantages. But one thing here is very important, all right? You may say, although there are benefits, but the negative sides should not be neglected. And your position is that the negative sides are more, right? The negative points of exams are more than the advantages. Now, what is the structure of our essay here? So you know what to do in the first paragraph. That's introduction. So you start with general statement, all right? And then restatement of the question or paraphrasing the question, and then thesis statement, in which, in your thesis statement, you have to say your position. You have to say what's your opinion, what's your position is, all right? And if you believe that the negative points are more than positive points, then your second paragraph or first body paragraph should be about positive or advantages of exams. And it's a little bit shorter than the second body paragraph. And the second body paragraph will be about the disadvantages, all right? And this paragraph is a little bit longer than the previous paragraph. And then you will have the conclusion, right? So this is very important, very, very important. if I repeat my point here again, if you believe that the negative points of exams are more than positive points, then your first body paragraph will be about positives or advantages, and your second body paragraph will be about negative points or disadvantages. All right. Now, what are the advantages of testing? Well, the first advantage is that it lets teachers know how well students are doing and what they have and have not understood. The second advantage is that it allows the students to see if they are making good progress. The third advantage is that it can promote a healthy sense of competition and motivation. And the fourth is it is the fairest way to decide who will go to university. All right, these are some advantages of testing. And we're going to, let's say, provide 3 advantages in this essay. Now, what are the disadvantages of testing? The first one is that tests do not always reflect ability. The cleverest students do not always do well in tests, all right? This is the first disadvantage. The second one is they can be very stressful and emotionally damaging. The third one is they can affect students' self-esteem. And the fourth one is students focus on the tests and do not enjoy the learning experience. And this makes teaching harder, all right? So these are the advantages and disadvantages of testing. Now, we'll start writing our introduction. So the first step in our introduction is to write a general statement. And general statement is something, let's say, it's not something necessary. So you do not have to write it. If you, let's say, start your introduction with paraphrasing the question, that's okay. You will not lose any marks. But what I mostly do in writing essays is that I always, not always, almost always start my introduction with a general statement. Now, the general statement here should be related to tests, examinations, right? School children have been asked to sit examinations for centuries. So this is a very good general statement. And then I should paraphrase the question. Students in every corner of the globe are regularly tested by the teachers in academic institutions. Now, what I should do here is to write my thesis statement in which I have to write my position and opinion, right? So if I say that the negative points, the disadvantages of testing are more than advantages, then the first sentence, the first part of my thesis statement should be related to advantages, the benefits, all right? Now, I start my thesis statement with something like this. There is no doubt that in the correct circumstances, testing can be a valuable tool. So it shows that there are some advantages. Now, I should write about disadvantages. I should mention that, all right. Now, there are also some negative points which should not be neglected, right? However, it's a very good word, however. When used wrongly or excessively, the test may become a dangerous weapon and be detrimental both to the tutor and the learner. So, this is a very good thesis statement. You know, it refers to both possibilities. The tests are positive and that tests are negative, right? And the main body and your conclusion should support this slight bias towards tests being negative, all right? So you have a kind of a slight bias towards tests that are negative, all right? So the negative side is discussed after the positive side, and paragraph 3 is longer than paragraph 2, as I mentioned before. Now let's start writing our second paragraph or our first body paragraph. So we always start our body paragraph with a topic sentence, all right, with a strong topic sentence. So topic sentence here should refer to the advantages of testing. Educators can point to a number of advantages of testing. That's it, a very good topic sentence. Now I should write my first point, right, as you remember we worked on 4 advantages of testing, right? So I'm going to put 3 of those advantages here. The first one, setting tests can help to develop a positive sense of competition amongst students. So this is my first point. Now I should support my point here. How? How testing can, let's say, develop a positive competition. Now I put comma here among students, which can inspire them to learn more effectively and perform successfully. So it can inspire them. By inspiring them, I believe that it develops a positive sense of competition amongst students. Now, I should here mention the second advantage. And don't forget cohesive devices here. Similarly, because I'm referring to the second point, I use this word. Similarly, exams can demonstrate to pupils how much progress they have made and the areas in which they are doing well. So this is my second point, second advantage. So what do I mean by this? I should explain it more. I should support it by providing details, all right? This could be extremely motivating. It's a very good word, motivating. It means that when students know in which parts or in which areas they're doing well, so it can be motivating. So they're kind of motivated, all right, by learning, by knowing in which areas they're making progress, all right? And the third point, the third advantage. Furthermore, exams demonstrate to teachers what their pupils have learned and what needs to be revised later. This is the third advantage. And I should support it again. This may make teaching more effective. Now, it's related to teaching, that when teachers know if their pupils have learned something or needs to be revised, so teaching can be effective too. So this is the last sentence that I support my third advantage. Now, in second body paragraph, I should write about negative points, the disadvantages of exams. And you know that we should start with a topic sentence, and the topic sentence is related to the disadvantages of learning, all right? Now, one thing is very important is that you have to start, the beginning of your second paragraph is very important. You should link it, all right? You should link it to the previous paragraph, right? Here, I'm going to link it in 2 ways, time and contrast. At the same time, however, this is a very good word. This is a very good phrase that I'm telling the reader, the examiner, that, all right, in our previous paragraph, we worked on advantages. Now here, we're going to work on disadvantages or negative points. At the same time, however, it is necessary to acknowledge the potential weaknesses and dangers associated with examining. Weakness and danger. It means disadvantage. So here, instead of disadvantages, I've used these words, weaknesses and dangers. Now, our next sentence will be the first disadvantage. Firstly, comma, tests can be excessively stressful for candidates. So this is my first point, my first disadvantage. It can be stressful. How? Or you can write about the results or consequences of this stress amongst students, and may even lead to nervous breakdowns or, in the worst case scenario, attempted suicide. So this is the result. This is the consequence of that stress among students, right? Sometimes in your in supporting your main idea, you can talk about consequences of that negative point or positive point. And this is what I've done here in this part. And after this, I should write about the second disadvantage. And don't forget cohesive devices. Likewise, they can result in too much competitiveness between fellow students. So what do I mean by this? And those who achieve lower scores may experience lower self-esteem or suffer from being bullied. And this is my supporting detail. And I don't know if you have witnessed something here. In previous paragraph, in supporting my main ideas, my sentences were shorter. And here, they're a little bit longer, right? So this shows that, all right, you believe that the negative points are more. And in supporting your details, you provide more information here, all right? So this is the way that you can actually get high grade in your task response. All right, and our last sentence will be about the third disadvantage. Finally, exams can be extremely unfair. So what do I mean by being unfair? I have to provide more information. I have maybe, for example, providing some examples, right? Some students consistently achieve low exam scores despite being academically bright. These individuals are unlikely to reach institutions of higher education even though they deserve to. So you see that how I support my point here, right? And one thing is very important, institutions of higher education. You know, many IELTS questions are connected to education. So knowing the ways to avoid repeating words is very useful. So here, instead of universities, I've used a synonym word, institutions of higher education. Right? We had the same thing in our previous sentence before finally, as you can find, those who achieve lower scores. Those who achieve lower scores. So this is another phrase that I've used in order not to repeat the pupils or students. So here, instead of pupils or students, I've used this word, those who achieve lower scores. So this those, right, we use those with a relative clause to refer to a group of people. For example, those who fail, or those who struggle with exams, those who apply for university but are not accepted. This structure is very, very good. You can actually boost your lexical resource by using this structure. Those who, and the rest of the sentence, the rest of the phrase. So in this case, you avoid repeating words. For example, pupils, students, all right? So try to use this phrase or this structure in your IELTS exam too. All right, now let's turn to our conclusion part. In conclusion, so you know what to do. Here, again, you have to refer to both negative and positive points. All in all, it is fair to say that testing can be of great benefit, both to those who teach, those who teach. Those who teach. Instead of saying teachers, I've used this phrase, those who teach and those who study. And instead of students, I've used this one. Nevertheless, tests must be used sparingly and with caution, as they can at times be both damaging and unjust. So this is the second actually sentence refers to the negative points that I mentioned again in thesis statement. Now, as you can see in thesis statement, we had the same structure. We first referred to positive points. We said that, all right, there are some positive points and then negative points. And I did the same here in conclusion. First, the positive points and then the negative points. All right, that's all for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed this lesson and has been really helpful to you. If you have any questions, you can simply ask in comments. I will kindly answer all your questions. And until next time, enjoy your time. Stay tuned and goodbye.